Por favor. Thank you. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I had, you know, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Hey,
let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
Let's not act like children.
Anderson, this was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now.
And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain of what we saw tonight.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, allegedly, Democrats are in full-blown panic mode immediately following the conclusion of Biden's disastrous debate performance against Trump, okay? Because like I told you guys from the beginning, I told you guys this days ago, okay, months ago, going into this debate, all Trump has to do is to let Biden talk. That's all he has to do, okay? It doesn't really matter what Trump says. Doesn't matter what he does, okay? It's really about Biden, okay? And boy, Biden looked terrible. He looked absolutely terrible from the beginning of the debate. When the dude walked out on stage, I was like, bruh, this dude is a walking corpse. And then, I'm not saying this from a biased perspective. I'm saying this from the perspective that I think that somebody who is undecided, that legitimately is torn between Trump and Biden in the couch, right? The way that they would see it, okay? Because I'm not sure how you have two eyes, two functioning eyes, and you didn't see that Biden is literally decaying, okay? Not only is he decaying mentally, but he's decaying physically, okay? He just looked bad the whole night. He looked very old and senile, and he didn't quite have a Mitch McConnell moment, okay? But he got pretty damn close.
A 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare to, for the ability to, for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400 in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Yeah, we beat Medicare. Joe Biden, right? This is what this man said. So, again, it's moments like that that happen throughout that whole debate that has a lot of people in full-blown panic mode. I mean, I could sit here and go over all of the policy discussions that they had, but we all know that Trump is much better than Biden when it comes to policy. I mean, it really wasn't even a policy debate because Trump essentially wins by default, considering how Joe Biden's policies have been terrible for the country. Again, what it really came down to was whether or not Joe Biden will be able to hold his own and to be consistently coherent and to complete a sentence, which he just could not do the whole night. I mean, almost every answer that he gave, he was struggling to articulate his thoughts. And now I know why they did not want an audience, because Biden being old and senile, him being constantly interrupted is an easy way for him to lose his train of thought, right? And Biden struggled, despite not having an audience, despite the debate being rigged to cut Trump's mic if Trump tries to interrupt Biden. Biden still couldn't keep his train of thought, even in complete silence. Okay? Even in complete silence, Biden was losing his mind. And the whole world saw it. And this is why I told you guys. The mainstream media, the Democrat Party, they can cheat fake all they want. They go, oh, it's a cheat fake. Oh, Republican conspiracy. This is what they do. But on that CNN debate stage, you're not going to be able to lie and gaslight the American people in regards to what we're saying from Joe Biden. It's not a right-wing conspiracy. Joe Biden got up on a world stage in front of probably 50, 60, 70 million people, probably even more than that, worldwide. And he absolutely humiliated himself, and he humiliated this country to the point where these same people in the mainstream media, like, for example, MSNBC or NBC or CNN, that was peddling this nonsense from the Democrats that, oh, these videos of Biden being old and senile, oh, well, those are just cheap fakes, right? They peddled these White House talking points. They're now admitting that it's over for Biden. It's over. You have Democrats in full-blown panic mode, texting their propagandists, letting them know that, yeah, Biden needs to be replaced. He's going to have to step down. There's going to have to be a contested convention because we're not going to be able to win with the current shape that Joe Biden is in. This is quite literally full-blown panic. And this is the message that is being pushed across every mainstream liberal media outlet, including MSDNC.
Debate Spin Room, senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson. And Kristen, let me begin with you. What are the headlines being written right now about this debate?
Well, Lester and Savannah, there's no way to sugarcoat this. This night got off to a tough start for President Biden. He delivered a performance that was at times halting. At times, he seemed to lose his train of thought. At times, he started to talk about one topic, for example, the economy, and then shifted to Afghanistan, which gave former President Trump an opening. And the topic of abortion, his strongest topic coming into tonight, he raised the issue of immigration, which gave former President Trump an opening. As the night progressed, he did begin to pick up steam. He had some really strong moments on the issues of what his administration, for example, has done for veterans. But zooming out, this was a debate about performance. This was a debate about allaying Americans' concerns about his ability to serve another 4 years. And I and a number of reporters at NBC News have heard from a range of Democrats who have said that they are concerned by tonight's debate. One telling me of this race, quote, "This is effectively over." This person predicting, look, Democrats are still going to stand by Biden, despite the fact that you do have some Democrats tonight wondering if that will be the case moving forward. But there has been some tough language that people have been reaching out to offer in terms of the performance that they saw tonight from President Biden.
The Biden campaign wanted and needed a compelling performance from their candidate. Did they get it?
If a voter, Savannah, was tuning in, looking to see about concerns being alleviated about President Biden's age or strength or capability for office, it is not at all clear that that is what they got from this performance by President Biden tonight, which was shaky. It was a shaky start, wooden at times, meandering at times. I will tell you that in about the back half of the debate, maybe the latter third of the debate, I heard from a Democratic lawmaker, a member of Congress who has been a strong supporter of President Biden's, who suggested the possibility, Savannah, of perhaps an open convention or replacing President Biden on the ticket. I will tell you it is all but potentially impossible for that to actually happen. But the fact that that is even being raised, the fact that that is even a shadow now hanging over the debate performance for President Biden is at minimum a headache for the Biden campaign moving into the next stretch of this campaign ahead of the Republican convention in the next couple weeks.
Anderson, this was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists. It involves elected officials. It involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket. And they're having conversations about what they should do about it. Some of those conversations include, should we go to the White House and ask the president to step aside? Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call? Because they feel this debate was so terrible. They do say in moments in the debate later, the president got better and got his footing, but then at the end, even his closing statement was a little halting. The contrast between the two candidates. Let me be clear. None of them, and a lot of Republicans, don't think Donald Trump had a great night. Donald Trump broke the fact-check machine more than I can count tonight. That will be on the record as we go forward. He refused to answer some very specific and direct questions about his conduct, about January 6th and what all. So that will be dealt with out there. And sometimes there's a parallel universe between the political elites and the American people. It'd be nice to see what the voters say. But I can tell you, it started minutes in. It started with the first couple of answers, and it has continued throughout the night from a, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, to what do we do about this? And it involves very senior people in the Democratic Party, including elected officials, saying we have a problem.
And a slight cold as well. So I understand not feeling well. And, obviously, Joe Biden comes in with certain deficits. He has a stutter. It is more difficult for him to communicate for that reason. So there's a lot to mitigate the way that he speaks, and you can understand it. And we've observed him for a long time. That said, I, too, was on the phone throughout much of the debate with Obama world people, with Democrats, with people who are political operatives, with campaign operatives. My phone really never stopped buzzing throughout. And the universal reaction was somewhere approaching panic. The people who were texting with me were very concerned about President Biden seeming extremely feeble, seeming extremely weak.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? I can't wait to see how Joe Scarborough and the cackling hands on The View are going to spin this horrible debate performance from Joe Biden, okay? Because if you have people like Joy Reid, okay, even she's coming out here and saying, yeah, this was bad. This was terrible. Joe Biden looked weak, okay? He looked feeble. Then you know it was bad, right? This was a terrible night. Now, again, he didn't quite have a Mitch McConnell moment in the sense that he just absolutely went blank, right? Had a stroke on stage. But he came very close. Again, so close, so many times that, again, even the mainstream liberal media, they're no longer denying the reality that people on the right, conservatives, were talking about for years now. Even when Joe Biden was running in the Democrat primary, conservatives were saying, yeah, this guy does not have the mental capacity to be president of the United States. And that contrast between him and Trump on stage, this sit-in debate where there was no audience, all eyes were on Joe Biden, right? You could not help but look at the train wreck, okay? You just couldn't stop looking. You was like, wow, Biden looks terrible. The American people saw it in front of our very eyes. And the mainstream liberal media should be ashamed of themselves. They should be embarrassed. People should be held accountable for the fact that they gaslit and lied to the American people about Joe Biden's mental state. They all knew that Joe Biden was going to come out and lay an egg. They all knew. They were just hoping and praying it wouldn't be this bad. Okay? But it's so bad that they can't even lie to you anymore with a straight face. They're saying, oh, no, we can't do that, right? We can't come out here and completely ruin our credibility. Not that they have any credibility, but still, the credibility that they feel like they have, we can't ruin that by coming out here and just lying to you about Joe Biden's performance. That's how bad it was, guys. Again, it's amazing because I told you guys from the beginning, all Biden has to do is talk. It seems as if this format kind of backfired because that's how bad of a shape Joe Biden is in, okay? Letting Joe Biden just talk with no crowd, where everybody has to focus on what he's actually saying, with no interruptions, no distractions, actually exposed Joe Biden. And that's the reality of this debate. Trying to hide Joe Biden, trying to rig the debate in his favor, ultimately ended up backfiring. Again, so bad that even the mainstream liberal media can't lie to you and tell you, oh, Joe Biden did an amazing job. Again, people like Joe Scarborough, he should be ashamed of himself. He really should resign. He should step down. This man said Biden is as mentally sharp as ever. Now, how in the world can you trust the judgment of a man like Joe Scarborough, who will tell you to your face that he knows Biden personally and that he is mentally sharp, and then you just saw that debate performance? But yet this guy is still on television as a credible voice? Wow. Wow, amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. It must be liberal privilege, right? That's what it is. Has to be. Has to be. Because if I would have said something like that, and then you have the president turn in that type of performance, yeah, I wouldn't be able to show my face. Wouldn't be able to. So again, with that being said, Trump did what Trump had to do. He was controlled. He did exactly what I said he should do, which is to, again, just let Biden talk. And at times, Trump was like keeping himself from losing it because Biden was losing it while he was trying to articulate a simple thought. But he was concise and he focused on the policies. Okay? He wasn't unhinged. He wasn't out of control. He made the debate about Biden. The spotlight was on Biden, and Biden humiliated himself. That was the winning strategy. And Trump executed on that strategy perfectly. Like I told you guys he would, right? I told you, Trump's going to be fine, right? Trump knows exactly what to do, and he came in and he did what he needed to do. And now it seems like it is basically over for the Democrats. I think you can put a nail in Joe Biden's coffin. If anybody votes for Biden after this performance, I really don't know what to tell you. But I don't think personally that Democrats are going to be able to replace Joe Biden at this point. There's going to be a lot of talk about replacing him. But the problem is they're basically screwed either way, okay? Because ultimately, the only person popular enough to actually run and to make it competitive will be Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris is just as disliked or unpopular as Joe Biden, so she wouldn't necessarily be an upgrade. Maybe she would be an upgrade after this performance. I don't know. Maybe she is the Democrats' best shot. But they can't throw somebody like Gavin Newsom in there because Gavin Newsom isn't that well known enough. And the reason why they don't have anybody on the bench they can just throw in is, again, because they have a diversity hire as vice president, first and foremost, right? But second of all, it's because they didn't have a primary, right? Democrats rigged their own primary. So now the Democrat base, the American people, they're not familiar with any of these other Democrat candidates that could possibly step up and take Joe Biden's place. It's way too close to the election, and it's going to be very fascinating to see if Democrats actually do try to remove Joe Biden, how they do it. I guarantee you it won't be Democratic, right? They're not going to replace Joe Biden with Bernie Sanders, okay? They're not going to do that. Their voters aren't going to have a say at all, but then they'll turn around and lecture you on democracy, okay? So I just love it when the Democrats and hypocrisy get exposed. I love it when the mainstream liberal media and their lies get exposed. And their house of cards seems to have fallen apart after this debate performance from Joe Biden, which was largely predictable. If you just pay attention to Joe Biden for 5 seconds, you kind of knew that, yeah, Biden was not going to perform that well in this debate. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.